Hey, it's your friend SJ. Welcome to the Menopause and Motherhood podcast. Welcome back to a new look podcast focusing on how we can navigate menopause and motherhood together. I'm SJ. I'm a 40-something mum living on a farm in rural Dorset with my family and 4 dogs. And I'm here to talk about menopause, how we can support each other through this crazy roller coaster of a journey. Now, if you are listening to me on the podcast, please hit subscribe, leave me a 5-star written review on iTunes. It really helps. And if you are watching me over on YouTube, hi, check out my cool cozy jumper and my lovely pink nails. You're not going to see a perfectly curated version of me on video, but I just thought I'd show my face and let you know that I'm actually a real person. So if you have been around a while, last episode about 6 weeks ago, I was talking about something that was really challenging for me at the moment. And I was talking about the fact that I needed to take a break. And I was taking a break because one of my closest friends had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I just needed to break, to stop, to regroup, figure out what it was that I needed to think about to get sort of life and things in order, to reprioritize things, and just to sort of get a bit of clarity and to give myself some breathing space, because I'm not the one going through this. No way whatsoever is this journey with this awful disease about me. But I love my friend so much. And of course, her pain, her upset, her suffering, the impact that this is having on her and her family has had a huge impact on me as well. And I think I had sort of been going through a bit of a crisis mode of, what do we need to do? What are the things that we need to do? And, there was a lot of sort of in and out of hospital and things for her and going to visit her in hospital. And now things are they're not great. Of course, they're not great, but things are a little bit kind of more settled. And I sort of feel like I know in myself and what I need to be doing to help and support her. I just needed a break. I just needed a break to check back in on things, to find out where I was. And one of the things that I needed to do in that time was to take a break from this podcast. But all of that being said, in the back of my mind, and I know she won't mind saying this, in the back of my mind, I know my friend, her name's Megan, and she is a real straight talker, straight shooting kind of person, and she's very much a get on with it kind of girl. And it's one of the reasons I love her so much. She's so determined, she's so independent. And in the back of my mind, as I was kind of recording the last episode, and I was sort of saying to you guys, I wasn't sure, what things were going to look like in the future. In the back of my mind, I knew she would actually be really mad at me for using her situation almost as an excuse of, not doing the podcast anymore, of not showing up for you anymore. And I just thought, okay, right, I'm going to take some time. I'm just going to pull things back a little bit. I've just got to focus on kind of getting through the day to day. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, Meg will not be happy with me. And ultimately, one of the things that is really important to me is showing up for other people. And she would not want me to use her situation and this horrible illness as an excuse for not being here for you guys. So that is where we are. We are back. We have a new look, and it really is going to be a conversation around menopause, navigating menopause as a mother, navigating menopause and motherhood together, and just figuring out how we are going to go through this together and what we're going to do. And I think that's really important, because I certainly noticed and was really, really feeling that whilst we were going through this really stressful time with my friend, that my menopause symptoms were worse. And of course, like, stress is going to make things worse. And it was sort of like a double-edged sword, really, because I was getting stressed out about what was going on with my friends. And that was then making my hormones even more like all over the place and out of whack. And I was going to visit her in hospital. I wasn't sleeping very well because I was worrying about her. I wasn't eating very well because I was just kind of a bit like stressed and not focusing on food and making sure my body was well looked after. And all of those kind of things actually made things worse. And I actually myself ended up in, like, to be completely honest with you, like a really dark place, like mentally just such an awful place. About a month ago, as I'm recording this at the start of November, about a month ago, I was really having quite dark thoughts. And by dark thoughts, like, I'm thinking about like not wanting to be here, not wanting to be around anymore, not wanting to be with my family. And if you scroll down, there's a few episodes, quite a few episodes ago, and it was a 2-part series that I did with my friend Lindsay, and she actually came onto the podcast and she was talking about the effects of menopause on her mental health. And she had a really, really hard time. She was taken into hospital and she was tried to take her own life. And I remember a few weeks ago, about a month ago, standing in my kitchen, looking out the kitchen window. And I am going to say here, like, I am so privileged. Like, we live in the most beautiful part of the UK. My other half, Tim, is a farmer. We have a beautiful house. We have a lovely garden. There is just like, we are so lucky and so privileged. But I couldn't see any of that. And all I could see was just like this negativity of just everything being so awful. And that's not who I am. Like, I'm really not that person. And it was a culmination of the stress and not looking after myself while I was going through a stressful period. And that just completely did nothing for my hormones. So I had to actually kind of like step back and start taking control of things, which is ultimately what we're going to be talking on this podcast is, the things that we can do to look after ourselves so that we're giving ourselves the best opportunity so that we can show up and do the things that we need to do. And we talk about this and, in the self-care space, we talk about this all the time about putting on your own gas mask, your own oxygen mask. That's what I mean. Like when you're on an aeroplane. And I think that's really important. And you, as a mother, I'm sure you have got so many responsibilities and so many people who rely on you that it's really, really key that you look after yourself to then be able to show up for the people around you. And I wasn't. And that was why I crumbled. I wasn't following the things that I talk about and the things that I have implemented throughout years and years of personal training experience, of life coaching experience, of all of the knowledge that I have from doing the courses around menopause and health and fitness and nutrition. All of those things, I wasn't doing them myself because we were at this kind of crisis, and it made it worse. It made the stress and the worry and everything that we were going through, it made it worse. So that's why I'm here right now, because I know that Megan would be saying to me, her illness is not an excuse for me not showing up. But also, as we were going through, and we still are, as we're going through this hard time, I just wasn't doing the things that I talk about. And I know that if I struggle with this, that somebody out there is definitely going to be feeling the same and struggling with this too. So that's why I'm back. That's why I'm here, because I want to help you to look after yourself, but also for my own accountability as well, because me showing up here and sitting behind this microphone each week actually really kicks me up the butt and makes sure that I'm doing the things that I'm talking about, the things that I know that I need to do for myself, that I need to do. This podcast makes me show up and do those things as well. So let's just kind of have a bit of a catch up. First of all, like, I wasn't in a great place, and I then decided there was a couple of things that I did. I needed to reach out, and that reaching out took the form of a couple of things. So first of all, I got some help with some new HRT medication. Now, HRT isn't for everybody. I know that, and you might not even be able to take HRT. And I know for many women, if you have breast cancer, for example, that's probably not going to be an option for you. But I reached out to my doctor. I sat in the office with my doctor. I was really lucky. I had a really nice doctor, and I have now been on some new medication for the past few weeks, and that really does seem to be helping. And I can certainly know the difference in that. And if you are on HRT and you kind of feel like you're getting a bit of depression or a bit of anxiety and you're not feeling yourself, go back and have another conversation, because we know that it's true that HRT is not one size that fits all. And also, as you get older and your hormones change, you're going to need to tweak that medication, and you're going to need to make changes to it. You might need to up a dose, you might need to change what you're using. There are so many different options out there. So remember, that is definitely something that you need to be tweaking. And that was obviously something that I need to be tweaking as well. I also spoke to friends. So this was the second thing that I did, was I reached out to some of my friends. I was like, hey, I'm having a hard time, can we have a coffee, and that kind of thing. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because you may not have that kind of network. Like, you might be in an environment with people who are supportive, who are understanding of what you're going through. And that's why I'm here, because I want to be here for you. I want to be that person for you. I want this to be that community for you, where you feel safe and you can talk and you can ask questions and you can just be yourself, and you're not going to feel embarrassed about talking about some of the things that are hard to talk about, and they're not easy to talk about, which is why like menopause is still such this kind of like hush hush, embarrassed kind of conversation. And I want this to be the community for you that allows you to be able to do that. And I also started, and this is like kind of the real fundamentals of the things that we talk about in this podcast, I really started to look after myself again, to really dig into the three things that I have spoken about on this podcast for ages and ages. Those three pillars, the fundamental things that I believe that when you get these things right, then you're going to be the healthiest version and the most energized version of you. And inevitably, I know for a lot of you listening to me, like, weight loss is often a goal, because unfortunately one of the beautiful things that happens in menopause is that we get that extra tire around the front of our stomachs. And I really, really believe that these three things can not only sort of make you feel better, feel more energized, and actually start to feel a bit more like yourself, but also are going to help you to be able to lose weight if that is your goal. So I focused and started focusing on like improving my sleep, because I wasn't sleeping. I took back control of my nutrition, and I also started to focus on the exercise and the movement that I was doing, because I think it's fair to say that I kind of got into a bit of a rut around things, and the exercises and things that I was doing before weren't really benefiting me in the way that I needed them. And those are the three things that we're going to be talking about over the coming episodes. We're going to be digging into like how we can get enough rest for our body, how we can get the right fuel that our body needs, and making sure that we are moving in a way that feels good for us as well. So what is coming up? What is going to be, heading your way over the coming weeks and months with this podcast? So we're going to go back to doing weekly episodes. And if you are listening to this on a podcast platform, I'm going to try, and I do say try, to get this on YouTube. And if you are watching me on YouTube, hey, I managed to do it. This is not going to be a beautifully curated me. It's going to be like kind of quite a raw, natural version of me. I'm not going to sit here with my hair looking perfect with a whole load of makeup on, because that's just not who I am. So I'm going to try and share these videos on YouTube, just to kind of like be a little bit more open about who I am, what I look like, just so that you can kind of get to know me a little bit better, I guess. And ultimately, these weekly episodes, we're going to be talking about the things that will help balance your hormones. We're going to dig into these 3 pillars that I talk about all the time: rest, fuel, move. And we're going to be talking about those. We're going to be digging into those. And if you have any questions around like menopause or anything like that, around those kind of topics, then please like drop me an email. The email are in the notes below the episode, because I want to help and I want to support you in any way that I can. And if you've got specific questions, I would love to create episodes around those specific questions. Secondly, I'm going to be opening up the microphone to other women to share their menopause stories, because I think it's really important that we hear that we are not alone, and that you hear from other people who are going through something similar to you. I think that's so important, because when somebody else is opening up their mouth and saying, hey, I'm finding this hard, then you're going to feel like you're not alone and that you're not going crazy, because you're not going crazy. I promise you that. So if you have a menopause story that you would like to share with the community, now this ultimately is a podcast, so we can do this anonymously. You just need to talk. You don't need to show up on video. I don't need to share your name or anything like that. But you could come onto the podcast, you could talk about your menopause story, like your struggles, how you overcame any of those challenges that you've had. If you are like a small business owner, then you could potentially use this as a platform to share your business, if your business is something that could be beneficial to this community. So I encourage you to do that. I have posted a link to a Google form in the show notes. So if that's something that you want to do, then please apply through that form and I will come back to you. I'm also going to set up some Meno mummy chats, which is going to be sort of like some group events, online networking, so that we can get to know each other, we can talk and just kind of sit out, hang out, have a cup of tea and a chat. And then the final thing, actually, there's 2 other things. We are going to be, I am going to be offering some Meno-Coaching. So as a personal trainer, as a menopause movement specialist, as a life coach, I have a huge wealth of knowledge and experience that I can use to support you. I'm actually starting a course at the moment to train as a counsellor, although that's something that is going to take a couple of years to get fully qualified with that. So right now I can't call myself a counsellor, but I'm definitely a coach. So I'm going to be offering some menopause coaching, some Meno-Coaching. It's going to be a 90-day program, and it's going to be one-to-one coaching, super affordable. And it's going to be online, so you can do this online with me via Zoom. And we're going to focus on the 3 pillars: the rest, fuel, move. And we're going to spend like 30 days on each of those pillars, really embedding and focusing on getting these like routines, these habits, all of these sort of things that you're going to need to help balance your hormones when it comes to like your sleep, what you're eating, and how you're moving. And I have made this program really, really affordable, because over the 90 days, you're going to end up having around 12 one-to-one sessions with me over Zoom. And you're also going to get access to the digital planners that I have. So the She Rises, which is a diary and a sort of journal in one, and also the Rest, Fuel, Move fitness planner that I have as well. So you're going to have access to all of those resources too. So that's an amazing program. It's really, really affordable, because I wanted to make it affordable I know everyone's really going through a bit of a challenge, like financially right now. So I wanted to open it up and give as many people the opportunity to work with me on a one-to-one basis. And that's going to really, really help me to support you as you go through this menopause journey. And the final thing that I want to share with you is we do have an affiliate company. So my affiliate company provide organic, natural products that are actually manufactured literally 20 minutes away from my house. They come in some gorgeous, gorgeous packaging. And the affiliate company that I'm working with has some amazing products which are designed for women like us who are perhaps struggling with our hormones a little bit. They're balancing, and they use essential oils, really natural ingredients, nothing nasty, to help harmonize your mind and your body. And I have linked some of my favorite products in the show notes. Particularly, I'm absolutely in love with this harmonizing collection at the moment. Again, I've put the link to that in the show notes. You can grab that. It has just the most amazing smells, the amazing essential oils of frankincense, rose, and geranium. And it really does just sort of help you ground yourself. And it's definitely something that's worth considering investing in to give yourself a little bit of extra self-care. And it's definitely something that's worth investing in to help you get a better night's sleep. One of my favorite products is called the Remedy to Roll. If you're on YouTube, you can see it right now. So it is like a little bottle with essential oils in it, and you roll it on your pulse points, and here it is. Smells amazing. It's the greatest thing. You can put it in your handbag and you can take it with it, and it has got all of those lovely essential oils in as well. So lots of exciting things happening. All of the links and the information that I have just said are in the notes below this podcast episode. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful for you, and I am really looking forward to getting to know you, supporting you, and going through this crazy hormone roller coaster together.